Good morning and welcome to Assembly Ways and Means. This morning, well, first of all, let's, good morning. Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, may you take the roll? Mr. Secretary. Monday. It's Monday.
Assemblywoman Anderson. Present. Assemblywoman Backus.
Present.
Assemblywoman Brown May.
Here.
Assemblywoman Dickman.
Here.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Here.
Assemblyman Hafen. Here. Assemblywoman Howdigi. Assemblywoman Kasama.
Here.
Assemblyman Miller.
Here.
Assemblyman O'Neill.
Here.
Assemblywoman Peters. Assemblyman Watts.
Here.
Assemblyman Yeager.
Here.
And Chair Monroe Marino.
Please mark Chair Monroe Marino excused, and if the Majority Leader Howdigi does not make it in before the time we conclude our meeting, she is also excused. And then please mark Assemblywoman Peters present when she arrives. With that, just welcome everyone this morning, and if you have any electronic devices, just make sure those are silenced so that we don't have any disruptions. Today we do have a BDR that I think, let's do that business in case some of our committee members have to go and present bills in another committee. Just remember, when we're introducing a BDR, voting yes does not mean you're supporting the BDR. Rather, it's just so that we can introduce it on the floor and refer it out of our committee. This BDR is BDR 16-1073. It's an act relating to the State Board of Parole Commissioners, requiring the chair of the board to appoint an executive director of the board, requiring the chair to delegate certain powers and duties to the executive director, revising provisions relating to the executive secretary of the board, and providing other matters properly related thereto. Do I have, anyone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you so much. I have Assemblywoman Dickman, a second by Assemblyman Watts. Is there any comments? With that, those that support it say aye. Aye. Those against, nay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 10 ayes and no nays. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to take our bills in order today. So with that, we'll start with Assembly Bill 166, which makes an appropriation to the nonprofit organization Foster Kinship for its programs dedicated to kinship care. Welcome, Assemblywoman Thomas. And please feel free to start when you're ready.
Right. Good morning, Vice Chair Backus and members of the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means. I am Assemblywoman Claire Thomas, proudly representing Assembly District 17 in beautiful North Las Vegas. Today I would like to introduce you to Assembly Bill 166, which as amended appropriates $1.5 million to Foster Kinship, a nonprofit statewide program that provides essential services aligned with the Family First Prevention Services Act to families raising children in non-parental care. As many of you may be aware, there are about 4,500 children in our formal foster care system across the state. However, You may not be aware that there are nearly 30,000 children in Nevada in some kind of non-parental care arrangement. Out of this number, around 25,500 children are being raised by family members or friends who are not their biological parents. This includes informal kinship care, guardianship, and other types of non-parental arrangements. Every single one of us knows someone or is raising or was raised by kin. The grandmas and aunties who take in their babies, relatives when tragedy occurs. The teachers and coaches who step up for a child whose parents are grappling with substance use and have no safe place to go. Kinship care is a vital support system for vulnerable children who cannot live in their homes due to reasons such as abuse, neglect, or tragic circumstances like COVID-19 and opiate overdoses. And yet, kinship caregivers often face significant challenges and barriers, including financial strains and a lack of access to necessary resources and services. This is where foster kinship comes in. Their program provides critical services and support to kinship caregivers and the children in their care. Through this appropriation, we can ensure that more kinship caregivers have access to the resources and support they need to provide stable and loving homes for the children in their care. This $1.5 million investment will not only benefit the children in non-parental care, but also the state as a whole by reducing the number of children in the formal foster care system and preventing children from entering the formal system. And it gives Nevada the opportunity to access a federal match. Madam Vice Chair, with your permission, I would like to invite Ali Calando, founder of Foster Kinship, to speak more about the impact of their program and how Foster Kinship ensures that kinship caregivers have the support they need to provide safe and nurturing homes for Nevada's most vulnerable children. Thank you.
Good morning. For the record, Dr. Ali Caliendo, ALICALIENDO, founder and executive director of Foster Kinship, and it's truly an honor to be here and share our story and our services. In the fall of 2010, I was pacing around a Starbucks parking lot on the phone for hours, raising $800 to pay for a great aunt and 4 children to stay together after the child welfare system refused to help. I'd been working with these children for about 6 months after the great aunt picked them up from Child Haven. She had received the call in the middle of the night after the children had witnessed the horrific murder of their mother. Without hesitation, the great aunt selflessly became the primary caregiver for these traumatized children. Over 6 months, I watched as the children began to heal, living together and with their family. They needed each other. It was so clear that the love offered by a family member was a crucial piece of the healing process for these children, and I couldn't imagine what would happen if they were living away from each other after all they had lost. But I also watched how much the aunt struggled, alone with no training and no financial help. After 6 months and after draining her savings, she contacted the child welfare system for support. The system responded, "If you're asking for help, maybe you can't do this. We'll just have to remove the children and place them in foster care." Now, family knows that foster care implies with strangers, and I knew the chances of a traditional foster parent being able to take all 4 children together would be slim. So it was that threat that spurred me to raise money in that Starbucks parking lot, working to ensure that the family could access support so that the kids could stay together and not have to live with strangers. That same afternoon, in the same Starbucks parking lot, I also had the idea to start a nonprofit to help other kinship families in Nevada. Kinship care prevents the need for more costly foster care. For every child in foster care in Nevada, there are 15 in kinship care outside the foster care system. Studies have found that compared to kinship care, the traditional foster care system is 6 to 12 times more expensive, and residential treatment is 21 times more expensive. But without support, children in kinship families are at risk of entry into the foster care system and of multiple adverse short and long-term outcomes. I founded Foster Kinship with the sole mission of supporting kinship families so that children who've already experienced so much pain can heal and grow and break generational cycles of trauma. Since then, we have served over 16,000 children in Nevada and their families, and we have worked in every Nevada county. Through our evidence-based model, Foster Kinship provides practical and necessary resources to kinship families across the state, including information, referral, support, case management, child care, caregiver training, respite care, support groups, direct financial assistance, and basic needs like diapers and car seats. Through partnerships, we offer welfare and mental health services on site. We collaborate with all 3 of our child welfare jurisdictions and dozens of community agencies across the state to ensure caregivers have access to necessary help, including links to mental health and disability resources. And our outcomes are clear. Depending on the resource measured, families are 2 to 4 times more likely to access financial support and 3 times less likely to have children who enter our traditional foster care system. Therefore, investing in kinship care services not only saves Nevada from more expensive foster care services in the short term, but the intervention support provided by foster kinship is proven to reduce the longer-term harm children may experience due to parental separation, trauma, abuse, and neglect. Under the Family First Act, jurisdictions can receive ongoing federal reimbursement for up to 50% of their expenditures to provide kinship navigator programs that the 4E Prevention Services Clearinghouse has reviewed. In 2019, the state of Nevada hired an external professional to evaluate foster kinship's navigator program. The state submitted positive and significant results to the 4E Clearinghouse in late 2021. In the fall of 2022, the Clearinghouse reviewed the results, and a few weeks ago, the Clearinghouse contacted me regarding what program information they would post publicly on their website, so we do expect the results any day now. However, the state of Nevada has yet to invest any dollars to Foster Kinship's Navigator program, meaning even when our program is rated in the 4E Clearinghouse, a federal match would be very challenging to access. Instead, we are funded with private support, foundations, local contracts, and federal pass-through dollars. The missed opportunity to further support kinship families would add to what Nevada has already missed. For example, the evidence-based requirements for Kinship Navigator programs were waived through September 30th, 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic through the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021. This allowed states to draw down federal funding to continue serving kinship families and evaluating their programs. But because Nevada did not pay state dollars to Foster Kinship's statewide Navigator program, Nevada could not draw down a federal match during this period of opportunity. States who had funded a Kinship Navigator program were able to take advantage, allowing those jurisdictions to serve kinship children more adequately. Foster Kinship currently serves around 5,000 individuals statewide every year. These funds will allow us to double the number of individuals served to focus on supporting kinship children and families not in the foster care system, also called informal kinship care. Additional focus will be on expanding services for families in more rural locations across the state. We will provide direct financial assistance to families currently ineligible for financial support because the children are not in foster care. Based on the timeline of federal approval of foster kinship in the 4E Clearinghouse and Nevada's Family First Plan approval, these funds will also enable Nevada to draw down federal matching dollars up to 50%. In addition, as stated in the amendment, we will continue building on our external evaluation results to secure longer-term sustainable funding by increasing our outcomes and ensuring Nevada can maximize the federal matching opportunities for kinship navigation. Thank you for this opportunity, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Committee, do we have any questions for the presenters? We'll start with Speaker Yeager.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair, and thank you, Assemblywoman, for presenting this bill. I just had a question on the amendment, so I wanted to clarify a couple of things. It looks like the amendment changes the request for $750,000 in each year of the biennium, so I just wanted to get confirmation on that. And then I guess the question was, there's a notation in the amendment that the federal matching might not be in place the first year of the biennium, so I'm just wondering if you could provide some more information about what it is that might prevent the matching funds from being available in that first year, and whether we think it would be available the second year of the biennium.
Please, Dr. Caliento, can you answer the speaker's question? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Alec Caliendo for the record, and I'm sorry I can't see exactly what's going on, so I don't know if I'm being asked to speak, so thank you for clarifying. There are two things that need to happen in order for Nevada to draw down matching funds. The first is that Foster Kinship's Navigator program has to be rated and reviewed in the 4E Prevention Services Clearinghouse, and as I discussed, we believe that that rating will come any day now, potentially even today. We also need to make sure that Nevada's Family First plan is approved, and that is a question for DCFS and the state as to when they're going to submit that plan and when the federal government will approve that. When both of those things happen, we'll be working with the state to make sure we can access the matching funds. As far as timeline, I'm not sure on the Nevada Family First Plan approval, so that is why we have extended it out 2 years. We want to make sure we can help Nevada maximize those available matching funds as soon as everything comes into place.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll go to Assemblyman O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. And just for clarification, is this a one-time, just for this biennium, we're looking at the funding?
Dr. Alec Caliendo for the record, and yes, this is a one-time request so that we can access those matching funds and get some more sustainable long-term funding put in place. Once 4E dollars are available, it really opens up the door to drawing down federal matching funds for our services.
Very good. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other further questions for the presenter on this bill? I want to thank you, Dr. Caliendo, for what you do. I get to represent kids in the foster care, and if we can keep them with family members and kins, that's always a wonderful thing. So your story was very moving. So with that, I will release the presenters, and we'll go ahead and start testimony, and we will start in Carson City. Do we have anyone in Carson City who wishes to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 166?
Good morning, Chair Bacchus, members of the committee. Joanna Jacob, Clark County Government Affairs Manager. We are in support of this appropriation. We work very closely with Dr. Caliendo and this group in Southern Nevada. It's very important to Clark County because on average, we have a lot of our families, a lot of the kids that we serve are in some sort of family placement. So over 38% of the kids that we serve, that's actually a very large percentage for child welfare agencies nationwide. So without the support of the families who take care of the kids in our community, we would not be where we are. And so we support moving forward also with trying to put some matching up on implementation of Family First. We've been working on this broadly and across several bills this legislative session. So Clark County is in support, and I will leave it there. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Marina Dahlia Hunt, Marina Dalia-HUNT. I am the team lead for the Minor Guardianship Advocacy Program at Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada, where we provide direct legal representation for children in the minor guardianship system in Clark County. We work very closely with Foster Kinship as essentially the only organization, that supports family members outside of the formal guardianship system. What families often don't know when they enter the informal 159A guardianship system is there are essentially no financial resources available. These adults who are stepping up to take in children or family friends are often on their own. There's no additional financial resources. There's no help to navigate the system. And Foster Kinship is there to serve as a support to stabilize the family. Their work absolutely keeps children out of foster care, and I strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Chair, members of the committee, Jonathan Norman with the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. I'm just going to echo my colleague's statement. Obviously, she works at the Legal Aid Center, and we represent the kids in foster care in addition to kids in minor guardianship, and we think the foster kinship program is a pretty vital partner in keeping kids from entering the system and then supporting those families so they don't reach a point down the road where they can't support that child. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Do we have anyone else in Carson City wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 166? With that, we'll go ahead and move to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 166? If so, please make your way up to the podium. Okay, with that, BPS, we'll go to the phone lines. Is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 166?
If you would like to testify in support of AB 166, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. This is Holly Wellborn, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Alliance, testifying in support of AB 166. Research shows that when a child is removed from the home or loses a parent, that living with relatives is better for children and in their best interest. Not only does it preserve the child's cultural identity and relationship to the community, but kinship care also increases permanency for children and improves behavioral and mental health outcomes. Foster kinship provides a crucial service for Nevada's foster children. Investing in their program will save dollars in the long term and is a wise investment for Nevada families. We encourage your support.
BPS, is there another caller on the line?
Yes, Chair.
My name is Sherry Burton. It's JeriBurton, and I'm the co-executive director of the Nevada chapter of the National Organization for Women, and I'm calling in support of AB 166. With so many Nevada children in non-parental care, it's essential we include them in these foster kinship care resources. These stories we're hearing of children being cared for people who know and care for them is inspiring, but also heartbreaking, and we need to find ways to support them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. As members of the Assembly Committee Ways and Means, my name is Patricia Farley. I am here to testify in support of AB 166. I am a mother of 4, a former foster kinship parent, now adopted mother of 2 of my 4 children, a business owner, and a former state senator who proudly represented Senate District 8 from 2014 to 2017. I'm also the vice chair of the Children's Advocacy Alliance, board member of Foster Kinship, and board president of the Girls Empowerment Middle School. I'm also a client of Foster Kinship who has helped me in so many ways, from obtaining my foster license to helping me secure mental health services for the children in my care to just supporting me through the entire overwhelming system that I don't think I could have made it through without their care, without their assistance. I have attended foster kinship classes in 2017. There were approximately 20 plus other families in my class who had fictive or foster arrangements that they were seeking for their homes. Classmates range from grandparents on fixed incomes to aunts and uncles who already had kids to family members who stepped in to help fictive family members. These Nevadas represent the most important and underserved resources to our foster care system, and these are adults who selflessly stood up to help assist a child. As Assemblywoman Thomas shared, there are about 4,500 children in our formal foster care system across the state. However, you may not be aware that the nearly 30,000 children in Nevada in some sort of non-parental care arrangement. Out of this number, the 25,000 children who are being raised by family members or friends who are not the biological parents. This includes informal kinship care, guardian, and other types of non-parental care. I stand in support of this bill, not only being a member of the community raising raising other family members' children, but also in support of all foster children who need support, both financial and mental health. I encourage you to support and pass this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Camila Bywaters. I'm the president of the Las Vegas Alliance. of Black school educators, and I'm calling in support of AB 166. I think this is an excellent opportunity to provide additional resources to support children. This is the way to go. Thank you.
Ma'am, before you hang up, can you please say your name again and spell it for us? We had a hard time right when you introduced yourself.
Yes, Camila Bywaters, Kamilah, Bywaters, Bywaters.
Thank you so much. We can go on to the next caller.
Good morning, Vice Chair Backus, and members of the committee. My name is Michelle Mayese, Michelle Maese. I'm the current president for SEIU Local 1107. Prior to me taking presidency, I was a supervisor for Child Protective Services in the Child Fatality and Sex Abuse Unit for the last 15 years. We definitely thank the bill sponsor, Assemblywoman Thomas, and the presenter. Currently, there are 3,274 children in foster care. 542 of those children are in regular foster homes. 409 are in relative licensed homes, and 841 are in relative unlicensed homes. I want to let you know that our first and primary goal as an agency with Department of Family Services is to keep children home with their families whenever possible, and this will allow us to do so. We absolutely want kids to stay home with relatives, aunts and uncles, grandparents, and we see how much of an impact that has on them as opposed to coming into the foster care system and living in a foster home. So we absolutely support AB 166. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Chair, there are no additional callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go to testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 166. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in opposition to 166? With that, we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 166? Okay, BPS, we'll go back to the phone lines. Is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 166?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 166, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good morning. This is Dora Martinez representing the Nevada Disability Action Coalition. Madam Chair, I was trying to get the access code to call in support. May I please proceed? I'm so sorry. I had trouble.
That's okay. Go ahead and we'll mark you down as testimony in support. If you don't mind just stating your name and spelling it, that would be greatly appreciated.
Sure thing. And I apologize for the background noise. I'm at the gym. So it's Dora, D-O-R-A, Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z. We wholeheartedly support this bill. Keep in mind that sometimes some of the foster children have a disability and they sometimes would need, let's say, ramp, handlebars for a bathroom and accessible tables to lower it down or higher depending on their wheelchair. So this is a common sense bill, and we thank the sponsor and the co-presenter. So thank you. Have a great day. Stay safe. Drive safe.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else on the phone line wishing to give testimony in opposition to AB 166?
Chair, there are no additional callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll move to testimony in the neutral. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 166? Okay, we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 166? Okay, BPS, is there anyone on the phone line wishing to give neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 166?
If you would like to testify neutral to Assembly Bill 166, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted and may begin.
Good morning. I'm Stacy Montes, the citizen of the Walker River Paiute Nation and the executive director of the Nevada Indian Commission. I want to thank Assemblymember Thomas for her important leadership. The issue and potential support of AB 166 would address issues especially needed for our Native American communities. When it comes to foster care, we should always have someone representing the unique needs of American Indian children. Foster kinship is important because it keeps our children with people who are familiar to them, if they aren't family members, to take care of them while their parents work on reunification. This arrangement is crucial for tribal nations. AB 166 definitely has the capacity we need to build for Native families. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other callers giving testimony in the neutral to AB 166?
Yes, Chair.
Hi, this is Sarah Evans, SAREVANS. I was actually calling in support. I'm sorry I wasn't notified to testify beforehand, but I work with the Department of Family Services, and I have for the last 15 years. This bill would be instrumental in us being able to help out the families in order to get what we need and make sure that kids get sent home in a timely fashion. So I really support this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. We'll go ahead and mark your testimony in support. BPS, do we have anyone else on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to AB 166?
Chair, there are no additional callers wishing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Assemblywoman Thomas and Dr. Caliendo, if you guys want to come back and give any closing remarks, that'd be appreciated.
Dr. Caliendo, I'll let you go first.
Thank you so much, Ali Caliendo, for the record. And I just want to say thank you to the committee for hearing this bill and really hearing the needs of kinship families across our state. We really encourage this investment so that we can help every single child who is not able to live with their parents stay in safe, stable, nurturing homes with their family and get them on that path back home. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And in closing, I would like to thank Vice Chair Backus and members of the committee for hearing this bill. And I urge your support for Assembly Bill 166. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And at this time, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 166. We'll go ahead and open the hearing on Assembly Bill 328, which makes an appropriation to the Immigration Clinic at the William S. Boyd School of Law of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. If we can have the presenters come forward, and feel free to begin when you're ready. And I'm assuming we're waiting for some, there we go, online as well. Great.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, I am Assemblyman Howard Watts. I have the pleasure of representing Assembly District 15 in Clark County, which is home to both the main UNLV campus and the Boyd School of Law, as well as the Community Advocacy Office, which is operated in the Downtown Arts District and provides support to our community. And it's my pleasure to present Assembly Bill 328 for your consideration today. I am joined by Michael Kagan with the Immigration Clinic at the Boyd School of Law, and am happy to present this bill, which would provide a $500,000 appropriation to the Immigration Clinic in each fiscal year of the upcoming biennium to support ongoing work to provide representation to members of our community in immigration proceedings. I guess I'll turn it over to Mr. Kagan pretty quickly to discuss some of the impact that our previous appropriation had, which was able to secure additional funds both from local government and private support, and to talk about the impact that that's had. But I'll just reiterate at a very high level that immigration proceedings can have major consequences for members of our community, for folks that live here. And unlike in criminal law, many folks have to go through that without any legal representation to help them navigate that system and try and get the best outcome. And when folks do have that legal representation, the outcomes of those cases are significantly different. And so this is one of the few resources that we have in the community that provides legal assistance to folks in that system at no cost to help navigate it, and particularly children. I had the pleasure of attending the opening of the Community Advocacy Office, and for every child that has been assisted by that office, there is a handprint helping commemorate the impact that has been made by that office, and would encourage my colleagues to go visit sometime and see that and see the incredible work that is being done for the benefit of our community. So with that, I will turn it over to Professor Kagan to provide some additional remarks, and then we're glad to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Michael Kagan. I'm a Joyce Mack Professor of Law at the William S. Boyd School of Law, and extremely proud to be the director of the UNLV Immigration Clinic. And I want to thank Assemblyman Watts, I guess who's my work assemblyman, for bringing this bill forward. We are very proud of the work that we have started to do with the help of this body, beginning with AB 376 2 years ago. And we are looking to continue that, and that is really the subject of this this bill. We are in the business of trying to build sustainable legal services for immigrants in our community, and for all the reasons that Assemblyman Watts just said, that is an essential service for us. Many of our families here and many children are stuck in that system. It's quite clear, there's extensive data that with an attorney, many people who are facing deportation actually achieve legal status and avoid deportation, but without an attorney, people have nearly no chance. And we focus our services on two of the most acute cases: unaccompanied children, first and foremost, to make up the majority of our clients, and people in immigration detention. As Assemblyman Watts said, after receiving the funds for the first time to do this work from the state during the last legislative session, we opened the Community Advocacy Office in March 2022. I will come back later. As he alluded to, we've done a lot to be extremely cost effective with the use of these funds. I'll come back to that in a moment, but first let me just give you some numbers on what we've been able to achieve. Because it takes time to hire, we actually did not have all of our attorney positions that we planned filled until last fall. Even still, in 2022, we represented 204 people facing deportation, and also assisted 67 people renewing their DACA permits. For those facing deportation, as I said, we focus on people in detention and unaccompanied children. 3/4 of our deportation defense clients are children. The youngest client we served last year was 3 years old. The children we represent enter the United States alone, and almost all of them have had terrifying encounters and threats, usually from gangs in Central America. Many also have been abused, neglected, or abandoned by at least one parent. And a good deal of our work is actually not with the federal immigration system, but with Nevada family courts, where we help those children and their caregivers navigate bipartisan bills that have been passed by this legislature to make sure that our family courts are attuned to the unique needs of unaccompanied kids in this system. I also want to note, because we are part of the law school, the program that we are running could, in another context, be operated by a nonprofit, but we're operated by a law school. And so there's an added benefit of our program in that it benefits are an educational institution. So just in the last year, actually just right now, we have 4 law school community service volunteers, usually first-year law students, 3 undergraduate interns, and 1 extern every semester, and we also have a summer fellowship. Those are the opportunities we've created just in our first year of operating, and I think we're going to come up with more opportunities in the future. So there's an added benefit in strengthening the Nevada's law school, as well as building an essential service for our community. Let me, because this is the Ways and Means Committee, let me address some cost effectiveness issues. First of all, we are very happy with our location in the Arts District. The reason why we are there is because our office is donated by a former member of this body, Azi Fumo, and that's been essential because obviously otherwise we would have to be paying for rent, so we can turn that money directly around into direct services. We also have a partnership. We received matching equal amount of funding from Clark County after the legislature appropriated funds in the last session. We also have a partnership with a private organization based in New York called Immigrant Justice Corps, which sends us fantastic lawyers who to help us staff our office. The result of this is that looking at 2022, again, when actually we did not even yet have all of our attorney positions filled for most of the year, we are looking at the public funds, combining the state and the county funds, we're able to provide representation in the most complex types of immigration cases for less than $2,500 per case. That would be unheard of if someone has to hire a private attorney at normal rates, unless the attorney was effectively working partially pro bono. I want to note, I think it's important to understand with our work that with the exception of the DACA renewals, the cases we take on are the most complicated an immigration lawyer can handle. We litigate at multiple courts at all levels, extraordinarily complex issues. And we pride ourselves in providing the most vigorous representation possible. And we see ourselves as national leaders in developing ways to do that. Despite building this office, we are overstretched. We do not actually currently have a permanent receptionist to answer phone calls. So we're depending on law school volunteers to do that. That is something we desperately need to fix. The need, now that people are more aware that our service exists, the need is overwhelming. Just since January 1, there have been 114 calls seeking our services from detention centers in Southern Nevada, from immigrants in detention centers. We have received calls from 27 children or their caregivers seeking our representation since January 1. That is on top of a situation we're in at the end of last year when we had 90 children on a wait list. So I'm looking forward to your questions, and I hope that you'll support continuing to grow this work. We're an essential part of the clinical law program at the William S. Boyd School of Law. And I want to say on a personal level that we have been doing this work since 2014, and it has been, I think, one of the great privileges of my career to be able to see kids who come here in the most desperate situation begin to grow up here. Many of them are now young adults. Many of them now have jobs. I invite all of you to come. Most of our office isn't that interesting. It's lawyers working at computers, but we love showing off the handprints, which we have been collecting since 2014, and we are filling out our wall space with them. So thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Professor Kagan. Assemblyman Watts, did you have any more comments?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. Howard Watts for the record. Again, I think that Mr. Kagan really laid out the benefits that we've seen of our support of this program, both to children, to keeping families together in our community, as well as building legal expertise in immigration law at our law school and being able to deploy that expertise in our community and honestly across the country. So while leveraging additional public and private support. So that's why we're asking to continue support for this program, and glad to answer questions that the committee may have.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll start with Speaker Yeager.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Thank you, Assemblyman Watts and Professor Kagan. Good to see you. And just wanted to say thank you for the work that the clinic has done with the Clark County Public Defender's Office, both when I was there and after I left. I don't know if folks know that, but there's a partnership between the Public Defender's Office and the Immigration Clinic, because as a public defender, we often get clients facing immigration consequences, and that's a whole different set of federal law. So they've been instrumental in helping public defenders advise their clients on what might actually happen based on the case. So I wanted to take a moment to thank you for that. The question I had was about the unaccompanied minors. It sounds like, based on your numbers, I guess upwards of 3/4 of your cases involve unaccompanied minors. And I just wondered if you could flesh out a little bit what the issue is in front of the court in those particular cases. I think you provided a little bit of context that they normally come here unaccompanied, but what is the court deciding in cases like that, and how does the Immigration Clinic help the court make an accurate and just decision in those cases?
Yes, thank you, Speaker Yeager. You're right, it goes back a few years. We actually also partnered with the Washoe County Public Defender as well. But yes, to answer your question, unaccompanied kids, the reason they're called unaccompanied is because of the way they crossed the border, that they did not have a parent with them at the time they crossed the border. The federal government tries to reunify them with usually a family member who it's called their sponsor, who they can live with. That's actually how they come here to Nevada. They have people here, so then they're usually living with family members, something actually very similar to the prior bill, kinship care, except that it's not formalized in the same way, although that is part of our role. So these kids, because they cross the border, they are usually put into removal proceedings, or most people call them deportation proceedings. So the Federal Department of Homeland Security is proceeding against them to deport them. If nothing changes, that's what will happen. Our role in the largest sense is to make sure that actually several courts and government agencies understand the circumstances of the child came from, why they came here, why they might not be able to go back. That's complicated because different type reasons for leaving in our system, for better or for worse, have to be raised with different proceedings. So some can be raised directly with the immigration court, but in fact, immigration court's jurisdiction is limited. So if they are going to apply for asylum, if they're being persecuted, that usually has to be filed for a child with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and then you have to go back to the immigration court and ask those proceedings to be paused. If the child has been abused, neglected, or abandoned, and that's where state law comes in, laws that this legislature has enacted in previous years, we need to go to a Nevada family court. Often a custody or guardianship proceeding is necessary because often the family member they're living with, they've been placed by the federal government with that adult, but there's not much paperwork actually explaining who that adult is and what their relationship is. So often we are assisting in getting a guardianship, and in the process of that, something called special immigrant juvenile findings, which then, and I hope I'm not boring everyone with this lesson in immigration law, but then you have to use that finding from the family court to file an application with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and if you still need to, resolve your case in immigration court. It's all right if you don't remember every detail I just told you, but I hope the takeaway might be why it's so important, say, for a 3-year-old to have an attorney.
And Madam Vice Chair, if I may just make a quick comment. I think maybe we deserve continuing legal education credit for that, Professor Kagan. But, I think it highlights, I think you just mentioned 3 or 4 different courts and proceedings, and I think it highlights, obviously, the complexity of immigration law. And, even if you have an attorney, it can be difficult to navigate. So certainly understand when we're talking about youth and unaccompanied minors that there's really no chance of being able to navigate those proceedings without an attorney. So again, just want to thank you for the work that you're doing and thank the members of your clinic as well. Thank you for the time, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Next, we'll go ahead and move to Assemblywoman Kasama.
Thank you, Chair, and ditto to the speaker's comments that after that explanation, we know why these services are needed. But I have two questions. Can you just give a history for me to understand? When did we start funding this from a state agency, and how long have we been doing that? And has Clark County always been matching the funds, or just kind of a general history?
Thank you for that question, Assemblywoman Kasama. Howard Watts for the record. So the first appropriation that the state made to this clinic was during the last session, the 2021 81st legislative session. I believe that was $500,000 that was appropriated.
For two years?
For the biennium, I believe, and I see some nods from Professor Kagan, so I think I got it right. And then, so that was what happened first, and then Clark County also made a $500,000 contribution, and then, as Professor Kagan noted, they had some space that was donated from the private sector, and then we're able to mobilize some additional philanthropic support as well.
Thank you. So we're looking to double the funds for this biennium.
Howard Watts for the record. Yes, that's correct.
Great. Another question, if I may. And then the other question is, we started in the last session, I believe it's called the New Nevada Office, for immigration services and assistance. So how is that different from this now?
Howard Watts for the record. Thank you for that question. So the Office of New Americans, I believe, is what you're referring to. Mm-hmm. And that office's role is to really work with other state agencies and help all arriving new Nevadans, new Americans, help navigate state government. And so that provides assistance to all folks that have moved here under kind of all statuses, whereas the immigration clinic is dealing with people that are dealing particularly with legal proceedings related to immigration. And so where the Office of New Americans is trying to help make sure that there's language access, cultural awareness, and connect all immigrants to our community to help navigate state services. This is really particularly focused on people that have legal proceedings related to their immigration status and helping them navigate that complex landscape.
Thank you.
And also, I have a question for Professor Kagan. I had the pleasure of volunteering one time at an immigration clinic day for the community, and I realized how costly a lot of the immigration paperwork is, including DACA renewals. With respect to the funding that you're asking for, does the immigration clinic also help offset some of those costs for people, whether they're renewing their DACA application or other paperwork that they need to submit?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So short answer, no, not directly. We don't have a fund that would be a much more expensive budget to actually pay people's filings fees. We help people apply for fee waivers whenever possible. It's quite often, though, that we're able to work with community organizations that often raise money, particularly, say, for DACA fees. So we'll often hear that an organization has a fund for, say, 20 DACA renewals, and we'll try to liaise to put those together. There was a period of time in 2017 and I think 2018 when Mexican Embassy had some funds available, so we tried to work with them. So we can often be a facilitator, but we don't have any funds of our own that we provide for filing fees. All of our services are free, but the filing costs that go to the government, unfortunately, have to be paid somehow.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions from our committee members today? Well, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to testimony in support of Assembly Bill 328, and we'll go ahead and start here in Carson City. So if those wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 328 can move up to the podium, that'd be great, and please start when you are ready.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Paula Luna, Paula-Luna, and I'm here on behalf of Battleborn Progress. We are in unwavering support of AB 328. We're urging the committee to invest funds in UNLV Immigration Clinic because the providing legal representation access to information, health and social services, and community support. Immigration clinics can play an important role in helping immigrants navigate the challenges of living in a new country. Appropriating funds for these clinics can help ensure that these services remain available for those who need them most. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Alejandro Rodriguez, Director of Government Relations for the Nevada System of Higher Education, and she is in strong support of AB 328 and looks forward to continuing the great work that the clinic has done for our community. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Lynn Chapman. That's Lisa-Lynn. Last name is Chapman, Chapman, and I'm with Battleborn Progress. However, I'm here testifying on my own behalf in support of AB 238. I graduated from the Boyd School of Law and was a student attorney with the UNLV Immigration Clinic. As a student, my experience was invaluable. I represented clients submitting for UNT visas who were victims of domestic and sexual violence. Additionally, I assisted in representation of youth in a special immigrant juvenile proceeding. As you've heard, as a community resource, the UNLV Immigration Clinic is essential to our community. I highly encourage this committee to appropriate funds to continue this needed educational experience and community resource. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Paul Catha, it's spelled C-A-T-H-A, and I represent the Culinary Workers Union Local 226. As Nevada's largest organization of immigrants, we support the bill and echo the comments of the other supporters. Thank you.
Good morning, Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Eric Cheng, E-R-I-C-J-E-N-G, here as Acting Executive Director for One API Nevada, advocating for Asian Pacific Islanders. On my other hat, I'm also the Director of Outreach for Asian Community Development Council, ACDC. We run our own immigration program and co-host resource fair with the UNLV Immigration Clinic. And for us, raising funds and actually providing services to our community members, we understand the limit of the work that we can do as a nonprofit. And every time when funders ask us, what if things get more complicated? Where do you go for referral, for resources? And we point them to the UNLV Immigration Clinic, especially their community advocacy office, since its funding has been a tremendous resource for us. And we come here to urge for your support for AB 328. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, Nevada Faculty Alliance. Thank you. We support this bill, AB 328, and the good work that they do.
Good morning, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Tony Ramirez for the record, Tonyramirez with Make the Road Nevada, and we are in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll go ahead down to Las Vegas. Is there anyone down in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 328?
Good morning. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Maria Prenes, M-A-R-I-A, Prenes, P-R-E-N-T-I-C-E. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for 21 years. A current resident of the Senate 7, Assembly District 18. I'm here to support the Assembly Bill of 328. I urge you also to support that to continue the project of immigration communities. And I want to thank you I'm sorry, I'm nervous, to consider this bill. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Deanna Hua-Tran. That's spelled D-E-A-N-N-A space H-U-A space T-R-A-N. And I'm the Coalition Coordinator for the Nevada Immigrant Coalition. Here on behalf of the coalition, the Nevada Immigrant Coalition consists of diverse organizations from across the state that work together to fight for immigration reform and immigrant justice. And the NIC is here in support for Assembly Bill 328. In 2022, the UNLV Immigration Clinic defended 204 individual clients facing deportation, plus another 67 people who have helped to renew their DACA permits 3/4, like Professor Kagan had mentioned, of their deportation defense clients were children. The youngest client was 3 years old. At 3 years old, a child is still understanding the world and what it means to be safe. And we understand that deportation can be extremely violent and traumatizing, something a child does not deserve to experience that young, and no one for that matter deserves to experience that level of trauma. If you are a child of immigrants, an immigrant yourself, or come from an immigrant family, you also realize that trauma lives with you and sometimes can be maintained for future generations. Legal defense can significantly reduce the likelihood of deportation and displacement, and in many ways, an imperative part of the trauma-informed care that our immigrant, refugee, and asylee communities need, and may play a key role in preventing generational trauma. We urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 328. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Constance Brooks, Vice President of Government Community Engagement for the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, with a very deep voice due to allergies, so apologies. We just want to express our steadfast support and appreciation for the Boyd School of Law, which is nationally ranked, as well as for the Immigration Clinic and wonderful professors and leaders such as Michael Kagan, who exemplify what it means for UNLV to be utilized as a resource, not just throughout the Southern Nevada community, but also throughout the state. And so on behalf of the President and the university leadership at large, we support AB 328. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Nayeli Rica Lopez, and I am here to support AB 328 on a personal matter. As an individual who works within UNLV and as a beneficiary of DACA, I personally understand the importance of the Immigration Clinic for our community and students and staff at UNLV and CSN. The Immigration Clinic has been able to keep families together in our communities by providing free assistance with DACA renewals and by representing unaccompanied children and people in immigration detention. As a DACA recipient, I understand the costly and potentially complex process when it comes to DACA renewals. It is especially important for our immigration clinic to continue to provide this service as DACA faces ongoing litigation in order to support our DACA students and staff at our institutions and in the community. This resource is especially important to our students. As you may recall, college students don't have an abundance of money, and so being able to access attorneys free of cost to assist with this very serious process is vital. I've had the fortune of having my family together to the extent that it can be, and I know that it would be absolutely devastating to lose a family member to deportation. No family member or no family deserves to go through that trauma. According to research, separating family members from one another, including children from their parents, may result in negative health outcomes for immigrant families, including irregular sleep patterns, which can contribute to lower academic achievement among children, persistent stress, which is associated with detrimental effects on brain development and cognitive impairment, symptoms of PTSD, and limited access to good nutrition and health care. I personally believe that as individuals, as humans, we must fight to ensure the well-being of all our community members, especially our vulnerable and underserved communities. It is therefore imperative that we continue to fund the clinics at the UNLV William S. Boyd School of Law so that we're able to provide and strengthen these essential services to our communities. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Melina DiMaggio, and I am the Immigration Program Manager with the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, here in support of Assembly Bill 328. Last session, PLAN worked alongside of the Nevada Immigrant Coalition to pass Assembly Bill 376, which created the Keep Nevadans Working Task Force and made an appropriation to the UNLV Immigration Clinic. This allowed the opening of the Community Advocacy Office, which many of you were able to join us for the opening last spring. The Community Advocacy Office has been able to serve over 200 clients since then, most notably a number of unaccompanied minors as young as 3 years old, and continues to maintain a wait list. AB 328 will allow the clinic to continue and to provide this valuable service, and we urge your support. Thank you.
I apologize. I was on mute. Madam Chair, is it possible to reserve my testimony for the end of the hearing, or must I go now? I'm in support.
If you're in support, go ahead right now.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Alyssa Cooley, ALISSACOOLEY. I'm the managing attorney of the UNLV Immigration Clinic, and I lead the off-campus community advocacy office. We are seeking to double our funds currently because we have a critical shortage of support staff. As my supervisor, Michael Kagan, mentioned earlier, we currently don't have a receptionist. We were surviving on temporary support for receptionist work up until the middle of February. And then when that temporary support ran out, we have since not had anyone aside from law students be able to answer the phones. Currently, we have one full-time permanent support staff member. Her name is Martha Ariano. She's our office manager, but also legal secretary. So essentially, for 5 attorneys in one office, we have half of a legal secretary. And I believe that any of the working individuals here in this committee, in this room, understand that you can't do anything without support staff. An attorney can't do everything. We need our support staff. The support staff is the heart of the office. When we talk about our work or share a story on social media or in the press, we often say, here is home. Our clients are your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends loved ones, your kids' classmates and teammates. Sorry. They are our community, our city, especially of Las Vegas, and state's lifeblood. Here has become home, but it wasn't there first. I'd like, if there's time, to read a poem by Warsaw Shire titled Home. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you, breath bloody in their throats. The boy you went to school with, who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one leaves home unless home chases you. Fire under your feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burnt threats into your neck. And even when you carried the anthem under your breath, only tearing up your passport in an airport toilet, sobbing as each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. You have to understand, no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palms under trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled mean something more than the journey. No one crawls under fences. No one wants to be beaten, pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or strip searches where your body is left aching, or prison because prison is safer than a city of fire. And one prison guard in the night is better than a truckload of men who look like your father. No one could take it. No one could stomach it. No one's skin could be tough enough. The go-home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers sucking our country dry, people with their hands out, they smell strange, savage, messed up their country, and now they want to mess up ours. How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your backs? Maybe because the blow is softer than a limb torn off, or the words are more tender. I'm going to skip that part. Or the insults are easier to swallow than rubble, than bone, than your child's body in pieces. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of the gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the oceans, drown, save, be hungry, beg, forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home unless home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, leave. Run away from me now. I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here. I'm asking this committee and the legislature to please support our funding bill, AB 328. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'm not sure if there's anyone else sitting there in Las Vegas. So it looks like no one else. We'll go ahead and move to the phone lines. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 328?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 328, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hello, can you hear me okay? Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Just also state your name and spell it for the record would be great.
Thank you. My name is Yvette Machado, YVETTEMACHADO, and I'm here today in support of AB 328. I wish to acknowledge the courage and vulnerability that my fellow Nevadans have shown today in advocating for services that offer human rights for folks who have been historically classified as less than full humans in this country, based on nothing but citizenship, which by birth is a luck of the draw. I was born with the lucky straw as a daughter of immigrants born in this country. My mother was trafficked into the United States. My father and stepmom fled a Civil War-stricken country, and I grew up in a mixed immigration household. It took my stepmom almost all my life to get citizenship, and we saved and spent all of our savings to reach this goal and then had to do it again after being misled. Today, I'm a first-generation college student and American citizen. I serve the College of Southern Nevada as student body president, and I'm currently enrolled at UNLV as well. My parents came to this country to commit to a life of self-sacrifice so I could have a life of self-actualization. Through their hard work and sacrifice, I have the privilege to be here today participating in this comment, having my voice not just heard but valued. However, as someone from a mixed immigration status family, I know firsthand the uncertainty that comes with navigating the immigration system and the fear and risk of approaching it. AB 328 incentivized Nevadans with academic promise to stay here and grow here regardless of immigration status. And if we look at this as an issue of equity and access, it's obvious why we should move forward. But when we look at the reasons as to why this would help Nevada, it could help those who haven't even realized their full potential to become our greatest citizens, scholars, and community members. Those brave enough to migrate to this country have gratitude on their sleeves and pursue higher education for more than just themselves. I speak for my community when I say that a student that is DACA eligible, has TPS, seeks education to develop our families, our communities, and our country. We pursue education with a level of gratitude that can only be felt by those who carry their hopes and dreams and futures on the mere tips of their fingers, always aware of how easily it can fall out of grasp. I'm certain that the folks affected by this bill appreciate the opportunity to move forward because we grow up learning that the promise of America is met when you take the opportunities that you're given and use them not just for yourself, but to better your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, and this country. I assure you that creating pathways to citizenship through education and through services like the UNLV Immigration Clinic will only bring forth Nevadans who are rigorously hardworking, intelligent, and have a unique grit to succeed. And I know this because I'm part of this community, and I know that we will only propel our state forward. So I urge you to support this bill to create more access for Nevadans. And I thank you for sharing the privilege and the privileges of our country with me and extending this branch to other Nevadans. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I know we have a few more callers on the phone. I would just ask if you're going to give similar testimony, if you don't mind saying ditto, but also provide your name and the community group you may also represent. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. This is Holly Wellborn, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Alliance, testifying in support of AB 328. Much of what I was going to say was mentioned regarding child development outcomes and brain development and cognitive impairment issues. So I will not repeat that for the record. But I will just say that I have some experience in working with youth on special immigrant juvenile proceedings, DACA, etc. When children come to this country, they are immensely scared and they need an attorney. It's a policy choice to deny the right to counsel in immigration proceedings. 2 years ago, this body made a choice to give vulnerable Nevadans the help they need, and we ask that you do the same again this session. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Esther Placazares, ESTHER-PLA-CAZAREN, and I represent District 9. I'm a student at UNLV, counselor at CSN, and daughter of immigrants. I echo what all of my other colleagues have already mentioned, and I am in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
I'm not sure if our next caller is still on mute, but they may need to unmute themselves.
Caller with the last three digits 829, please press *6 to unmute yourself and begin.
Hello? Hello. I'm opposing this bill.
Go ahead, ma'am, and wait on the line.
Hello?
We haven't taken opposition yet. So if we can go to the next
I'm so
caller.
sorry. Thank you.
BPS, do we have any other callers
Good
giving?
morning. Good morning, Madam Vice Chair and the committee. My name is Dora, D-O-R-A Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z, representing the Nevada Disability Action Coalition. I ditto the prior callers and supporters of this bill. As an immigrant myself, I've been here for 15 years and learning English. My children are in the military and my family are as well, and we are very thankful for the gifts, and I hope you all sponsor or approve this AB 328. Thank you to the sponsor as well. Thanks.
Chair, there are no additional callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll move to testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 337. Actually, this is 328. I apologize. So if those in Carson City wish to make their way forward, and please start when you're ready.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Janine Hansen. I'm the state president of Nevada Families for Freedom and a taxpayer. Perhaps you're unaware that this morning McDonald's is temporarily closing their U.S. offices, corporate offices this week as it prepares for corporate employees to be laid off. Disney on April 3rd also announced that they will begin laying off staff this week. The Conference Board, which reports on CEOs internationally, said for 2023, CEOs worldwide ranked a recession downturn as their #1 external concern for the year ahead. In addition, because of inflation, middle-class Americans are increasingly getting by, just getting by. Surging prices over the past year have hit many people in their pocketbooks. Average wages have risen somewhat, but not enough to keep up with inflation, which peaked in June at a 40-year high of 9.1%. Of course, that may only be the way the government keeps statistics. John Williams from Government Shadow Statistics reports that inflation is much higher, upwards of 15%, if you use the original measurement from the government in the 1980s. According to the Institute for Policy Innovation in the United States, the total tax burden, including federal, state, and local taxes and hidden taxes, is equal to 56% of annual personal consumption spending. 56% is more than a person spends on housing, food, health care, transportation, education, and recreation. How can people possibly take care of themselves and our families when government takes 56% of our income? There are dozens of bills in this legislature which are aimed at helping non-citizens and illegal aliens. There's almost none that are aimed at helping the failing middle class. In fact, I think I've just fallen out of the middle class. This is a $1 million taxpayer funding. We are concerned that more and more, the only way to help the middle class is to lower taxes, to cut regulations, and to allow them to keep some of their hard-earned money instead of giving it to others. We're very concerned that this bill and other bills just like it will continue to lead to the downturn of American citizens here legally who are struggling because of inflation and the high level of taxation. We encourage you to look after those who you're responsible for first, and that's American citizens in Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the opposition to AB 328? Okay. BPS, we'll go to the phone lines. Is there anybody on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the opposition to Assembly Bill 328?
If you would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 328, please press star 9 now. Take your place in the queue.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lisa Partee. The last name is spelled P as in Paul, A-R-T as in Tom, E-E. Please vote no on AB 328. We don't want tax dollars helping those who break our laws, enabling them to remain illegally in Nevada. I'm tired of being taxed to pay for people coming here illegally and being handed the world, while American citizens and veterans still remain homeless and food insecure. By inviting unvetted illegal immigrants here to our university for free legal assistance, this puts our students at risk. This is taxation without representation, which is unconstitutional. Remember the oath you took to uphold our Constitution. Putting Americans last is not constitutional. I have no problem with DACA kids. They were likely raised as Americans and as such are likely working to support themselves. They did not make the choice to come here illegally. Their parents made that decision, and I do not wish to punish those kids. But for the waves of people coming here now, it's crossed a huge line. The front door is open. Please come here legally. And I'm really alarmed that all the bills and all the people testifying this session that want to come here illegally, but they don't mention anything about wishing to become citizens. Please come through the front door, work hard, and become productive. Stop taking and start giving. No on AB 328. Thank you.
BPS.
Good afternoon. Good morning. This is Lynn Chapman with the Independent American Party. $1 million is a lot of money to be asking the taxpayers of Nevada to fund legal services for non-citizens. According to LasVegasNevada.gov, as of October 2022, Nevada has a homeless rate of 22.4% per 10,000 people. Homelessness is projected to cost $1.1 billion annually by 2039, just in Las Vegas. Also, we are hearing a lot of bills this session about affordable housing. Nevada has one of the lowest inventory of affordable housing. We also have many bills this session regarding education. We see bills about raising lots of different taxes on all the citizens. We just heard a bill about families taking in children not their own and not receiving any financial help. I looked up the information on the William S. Boyd School of Law and Immigration Clinic and found this, quote, all legal services provided through the clinic are free of charge, unquote. Also saw, quote, providing pro bono deportation defense, unquote. Must be nice to be in a foreign country and have free pro bono attorney representation. How much money is involved and paid for by the taxpayers? How many people work at the clinic? And I was wondering, how does this help American citizens and legal immigrants? I think these are legitimate questions to ask. I believe the people of Nevada are more than generous and have provided a lot of money and services that we can no longer afford. We have many problems to solve in our state, and more tax dollars being spent on non-citizens should not be one of them. Oppose AB 328. Thank you.
Casey Rogers for the record. I absolutely oppose this bill, and here's why. I don't think we need to keep giving incentives to support illegals, especially with the current crisis at the border. You only incentivize the egregious actions happening to these people trying to cross the border. The sexual exploitation crisis, the drug crisis, you only incentivize their problems becoming our problems. We can't even fix our legal Nevadians' problems, and we just keep piling it on up to no return.
These people are running from their countries, and I will tell you, I have served in Honduras. I have served in China. I have served in these places. I know why these people are coming here. I do. But you can't fix their problems. We cannot fix everybody's problems. If you want to focus on their government, go help them in their government. But our government here has to focus on our children who are suicidal, mentally ill, can't get enough help as it is for our own people. Not just our children, our adults as well. We are overwhelmed, Nevada. You can't poke a balloon with a needle and expect it not to pop. If you want to create our country into a socialist country like these places these people are running from, you're succeeding in that. You can't keep saying that our hearts hurt so bad for the world and yet allow the things that are happening at the border to continue to happen. It's inhumane altogether. You only incentivize the problem and create more for them. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Tracy Thomas, Thomas. I am currently the Vice Chair of the Washoe County Republican Party. We believe this service is very beneficial to Nevada communities. However, we cannot support this bill as it is currently written. We would support it if an amendment is made to direct these funds towards migrants who are enrolled in our naturalization programs. That may already be the practice. However, it is imperative to stipulate that. As a field registrar for Washoe County naturalization ceremonies, I have spoke with hundreds of new citizens from over 30 different countries that struggled with the $450 application fee for citizenship, and I'm sure that's higher now, let alone with the legal fees that could cost upwards to $10,000 just to become a citizen. Legal fees are indeed very cost prohibitive to migrants desiring to become productive citizens of our country. So it is our position that priority should be given to these very important members of our communities. We would also like to see something that would ensure these unaccompanied minors are not being delivered to guardians who are selling them for sex trafficking or organ harvesting. It may seem ridiculous that this would have to be stated, but unfortunately, it is happening more than is being disclosed. Nor should any of these funds be used on defending gang or cartel members, nor should it be used to incentivize them to exploit these migrants. We appreciate your consideration of these amendments. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. CYRUS, HOJJATY. I'll start off by dittoing the comments made by the previous callers, the fact that it's unfair, especially to my relatives who came here legally and put a lot of effort in their own legal issues. If you want to prevent family separation, you have to get rid of birthright citizenship. We have elected officials now who are born through that process. Their parents came here illegally. Harry Reid was opposed to it in 1993. What changed? Furthermore, this organization, I try to reach out and get some answers about how it would benefit everyday Nevadans. I was ignored. The last time a similar bill went through, it was shoved so fast. They shoved it like 2 days before the planned date. They had the hearing on the last Saturday in the session. There was very little notices. I thought it was a very shady thing to do. Sixth thing I wanted to point out is this is merely about political agendas. This is not about having a compassion or a heart. We saw these same organizations, these same agendas promote this whole COVID lockdown, masks, and vaccines. And yet we haven't gotten any proof of whether these measures have worked. It's all about pushing agendas and not about serving the people. Furthermore, you guys call us racist for opposing this bill, yet many of these people and politicians push race-based agendas and organizations. This is the same immigration plan that's being done in Europe, designed to radically change their population. California has engaged in similar measures with higher taxes and higher deficits. How is it working for them? This organization has also pushed a similar policy in early 2019, and they couldn't get it through because according to Gibson, Commissioner, he says it's violating federal law. And you want to know something? I probably would be neutral on this if you take casino taxpayer funds, not middle class, to support this bill. Other than that, please oppose this bill. This is merely about politics. It's merely about agendas. It's not about supporting the children. Thank you so much. I yield my time.
Hello, my name is Lorena Cardenas. That's Lorenacardenas. I'm a daughter of immigrants who came to America legally, and for that reason, my parents didn't need taxpayers to provide them with lawyers on top of trespassing into the country with the taxpayers with a slap in the face. Not sure why Democrats keep incentivizing lawlessness. Respect the laws, and you won't need lawyers. This is what differs from Democrats and Republicans. You claim to care for the people, but what about the homeless crisis from citizens in this country? Our neighbors are getting evicted because of job loss and inflation. Our children are not safe in schools. Please focus on that. Work for the interests of the people who elected you. Thank you.
Hello, I oppose this. I'm Susan Proffitt, Vice President of the Nevada Republican Club. But today I speak from myself and from my heart because my heart's been broken by the policies that destroyed our country and families. Yet both my Democrat senators refuse to return our calls for help in Nevada. Obviously, these people and children need our help, obviously. But I agree with Janine Hansen and all the logical reasons why you are out of line to expect taxpayers to pay for the results of criminal behavior and bad policies that allowed trafficked children and illegals to flood through our borders. This bill is an insult to every parent of our murdered children as it is written. Democrats opened the border to the cartels that murdered my daughter with fentanyl and thousands more. And the home speech from the lawyer was a slap in the face as well, because you all invited these people in. They didn't run. They were invited. Your struggling constituents who have begged you to stop this madness and close the border are struggling already, and this administration invited them in. So you expect us to defend the people who broke our laws. This is insanity. No way. I will stand by and let you do this. I will move first. But I do have a suggestion. Please, in the law, when people are doing things wrong or they harm them, other people, they have to pay the price. We'll let Biden's family, Charles Schwab, the organizations that are here looking for a handout, and every Democrat who voted to keep the borders open pay for the damages they deliberately caused, including the defense of those invited and trafficked into our country. You did it, so own it. I will move before I pay 1 cent to cover your ass again. I saw the T-shirts of the organization called Drive to
BBS,
Nevada.
can we move on to the next caller, please?
Chair, there are no additional callers wishing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move to testimony in the neutral. Do we have any testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 328 here in Carson City? Okay, we'll go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, do we have anyone down there wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 328? BPS, do we have anyone on the phone line wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 328?
If you would like to testify neutral to Assembly Bill 328, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify neutral at this time.
Thank you so much. Would the bill sponsor like to return to give some closing remarks?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. Howard Watts for the record. Originally, I was going to waive off closing remarks, but I first of all, I just thank you all for your time and consideration. I encourage you to go visit the Community Advocacy Office and reach out to the Boyd School of Law and meet some of the, see firsthand the work that's being done. We are a nation of immigrants. Through various ways, people have come from all over the world to the United States seeking a better future. But I think it's also important to note that we have changed the rules and made it hard for different groups of people to come here at all points across our history, and that legal pathways are often difficult to access. And even recently, even under this current administration, we have actually made it harder for people to access the ideals of our immigration system here. We've made it harder for people that are fleeing gangs, violence, persecution, to seek asylum, which is something that we consider a foundational right of people being able to leave those horrible circumstances and get here. And one of the things that this clinic does is assist children that are fleeing those situations seek those legal protections. And really that's what it's about, is providing the defense to people that are here in Nevada to get the legal protections under our system that they are due. And as someone who has advocated for comprehensive reform to our immigration system to make it more fair, it's been extremely disheartening, frankly, to watch over the course of my adulthood as there have been claims at trying to address everything, including security on the border, and allowing folks who have come here, who have sought protections, to be able to get on a pathway to citizenship. And throughout my adulthood, we've made far more progress on border security than we have on creating those pathways to citizenship. In fact, we've made zero progress on that. And so I think the least that we can do is, when there is a legal remedy available to folks, whether it's seeking or renewing DACA, which is not a pathway to citizenship, it is deferred action. It's essentially a purgatory that many of my friends are still in, or whether it's accessing asylum if folks are eligible to it, that we help the folks in our community access the legal remedies that they have. And I do hope that some of the opponents who brought up some of the important other priorities for our community follow and testify in support of the many other bills that we have supporting our community, including the bill that was presented just before this one, because we are, as a body, I think, poised to do tremendous things for every single member of our community. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I urge your support of this bill.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman Watts and Professor Kagan. With that, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 328, and we will move to opening the hearing on Assembly Bill 337, which revises provisions relating to public employment. And when the bill sponsor is ready, feel free to start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was watching staff clean these rooms the other day, and they do a very nice job of thoroughly cleaning, and which includes dusting underneath the chairs, which is what brings these down so far. I think I figured out. I am Sarah Peters, for the record. Thank you, Vice Chair, for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 337. This is a relatively simple fix to an issue we talked about last week related to longevity payments for state employees. Longevity payments were initially established by the 1973 legislature. During the Great Recession, longevity payments were suspended in 2009, 2011, 2013, and then fully repealed in 2015. Prior to the repeal, longevity payments were structured so that after 8 years of service, an employee received a semi-annual payment of $75 with a $25 increase each year from the 9th year to the 14th year, and then from the 15th year through the 24th year of service, the semi-annual payments were increased each year by $50. From the 25th year through the 30th year of service, the semi-annual payments were increased by $75 per year to a maximum semi-annual payment of $1,175. As I stated last week, we discussed longevity pay as part of the state pay work session. This bill would enable us to do that. And with that, Madam Chair, I stand for questions.
Sounds good. Do we have any committee members who wish to ask questions? We'll start with Assemblyman O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. As a former state employee and one that actually voted against, was here in 2015 and voted against doing away with longevity pay, I appreciate the bill. But I think, if I understand correctly, the state now, to an employee doesn't max out on their step increases till year 10. I'm almost positive of that. So I would offer or suggest that you may look at moving, instead of 8 years, moving to the 10th year. Otherwise, your state employees would be both getting longevity pay and step increases. They'd be getting double bonuses or raises during those last couple of years. But I would make that just as a suggestion to verify. Thank you. Yeah, wait a minute, it's got to be a question. Have you talked with Human Resources about that?
Sarah Peters for the record. No, but I do believe that the Department of Administration is represented in the room. I don't know if they have an intention to, yes, be able to answer questions. I can answer that question. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Daniel Marlowe, Administrator for Administrative Services Division, Department of Administration. To answer the question, it is correct, employees do not max out until step 10.
In the 10th year of employment. That's just to clarify for everybody.
Daniel Marlowe, again for the record. It's not necessarily in the 10th year. It is step 10. There is a process to come on board at an accelerated step. So it's not necessarily in the 10th year. Additionally, if you may lose steps if you go from more than 2 grade increase, so a 3 grade increase, you'll actually lose steps in that process. So going from a BA3 to an ASO 3 is a 3 grade increase. You'll actually lose 1 step in that process, even though you still have a year of service.
May I, Chair, just to clarify though, I appreciate that you can come in at a higher step, but the program is actually set up now to take 10 years to get to max. So some people, you're saying, may max out before 10, maybe max out at 5, maybe max out at 8, but they would definitely be maxed out by 10, and which is where I'm getting back to the confusion with the longevity pay starting earlier. The program is 10 years, and that's what I'm offering just as a suggestion. Is that correct, that definitely be maxed by 10?
Daniel Marlowe, for the record, that is correct. You'd be definitely maxed out after 10 years.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for the time.
Thank you so much. Assemblywoman Dickman, do you still have a question? Okay, sounds good. I believe we have a question from Assemblywoman Kasama.
Thank you. My question is perhaps to Mr. Marlowe. In 2015, correct me here, I just want to understand. So in 2015, the longevity pay was ceased at that time. And it was ceased because what was put in place for that? Wasn't it other raises or other compensation methods were looked at, and that's why it was removed at that time? Is that correct, or could you provide the history on that?
I would have to go back into the history and look at that. I do not have that in front of me.
I'm just concerned we're doubling up because that was removed. My understanding was it was removed, something else was put in place. And if that is still ongoing and then we add it, is it kind of a doubling up? Just trying to understand the historical context here of why it was originally removed.
Daniel Marlowe, for the record. The only compensation currently is your salary and benefits. There's no other program in place currently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from our committee members? We'll go with Assemblywoman Brown-May.
Thank you. I just have one quick question, Mr. Marlowe, while you're here. Do you have any idea what the vacancy rate is currently for the state of Nevada?
Daniel Marlowe, for the record, I do not have that information presently.
Follow-up, Chair. I wonder if you could just get that data. As we're working on retention payments to reward state employees for their longevity of service, and in many other hearings we've heard about the high number of vacancies in many of our divisions. I'm curious to know if you could just provide that information to the rest of the committee so we could really sort of balance what are we looking at as we're looking to encourage long-term state employment versus the vacancy rates we have.
Daniel Marlowe, for the record, we will provide that information to the committee members.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll go ahead and move to testimony in support of Assembly Bill 337 here in Carson City.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Carter Bundy with AFSCME. We want to thank Assemblywoman Peters and all of you for doing so much to address our vacancy problems. State employees, as many of you know, are well behind cities and counties. Longevity pay in particular can be a helpful way to help with retention, because the first rule of holes is stop digging. And if we're losing people at the back end, that makes our vacancy problem that much worse, not only for the state employees who then have even more work to do, but for the citizens who don't get the services that they expect and deserve. So we stand in support of this bill, and thank you.
Good morning, committee. For the record, my name is Paula Luna on behalf of Battleborn Progress. In support of AB 337, reestablishing compensation for continuity service would go a long way for our long-serving state employees, and we urge this body to invest in them. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee and staff. My name is Rick McCann, Nevada Association of Public Safety Officers and a member of the Nevada Law Enforcement Coalition. First of all, I want to thank Assemblywoman Peters for bringing this bill. You all know what I do for a living. Of course, I'm here to support this, for God's sakes. I've had the pleasure and honor of representing law enforcement in the state level for decades. While I may have retired from that day-to-day pursuit, I'm here lobbying for them, and I'm here telling you this is needed, because those decades I've watched during those decades for a lot of people leave. This isn't a lot of money. $75 twice a year? But it's $75 twice a year. What it does is sends a message. We appreciate longevity. That's what it is. It's longevity. Keep their rear ends here, because if you don't have a system. The efforts that are demonstrated through this committee, through a committee I watched and applauded last Thursday to do much of the same thing, I applaud this committee. Pass this bill. Give this longevity out there. It's necessary. It's time. Please do it. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, Nevada Faculty Alliance. For 40 years, the Nevada Faculty Alliance has worked to empower our professional employee members to help our students, help in our mission to help students succeed. Having classified staff that this bill covers, our support staff who are there helping students, helping other employees do our mission is so important. And right now, overall, NSHE has a 14% turnover rate. Among classified staff, it's 19%. What that means is the person in the front office who knew everything about the department, knew everything students needed, is gone, has moved on. We need retention, and this is one great step towards that. Lots of things were lost after the Great Recession. This is one of them. The joint work session, along with lagging compensation. The joint work session last Thursday made great progress towards fixing the compensation issue, some of the benefits issues, and also spoke to this issue of longevity benefits. I'd like to remind you of some of the other things that were lost in the period after the Great Recession, and sometimes lost again in the pandemic and not restored. Healthcare benefits were cut drastically. For post-2011 or 12 hires, when they retire, they will not have any retiree health benefits from the state. Faculty merit steps were eliminated. We've stopped even asking for that. So please support AB 337. And just one point, since this was discontinued in 2015, inflation has been 30%. So the $75 then should be $100 now. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anybody in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in support of 337? We'll need to go to the phone line. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone line wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 337?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 337, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lisa Partee, spelled P as in Paul, A-R-T as in Tom, E-E. I am in support of AB 337. I am a retired state employee who was counting on that fossil pay, as we used to call it so fondly, fossil pay, for long-term employment, and it was taken away. A lot of the budget had to be balanced on the backs of state employees over the years, and that was a big loss for us. I'd like to see it come back because the more recently hired state employees have really lost a lot of the benefits that I have gotten to enjoy. They've really taken away from the state employees, and there's really not much to encourage people to apply to work for the state of Nevada. So please do pass AB 337. Thank you.
Chair, there are no additional callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to opposition testimony. Anyone wishing to give opposition testimony to Assembly Bill 396 in Carson City, please come forward. Okay, with that, we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the opposition to Assembly Bill 337? Okay, BPS, we're back to the phone lines. Is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give opposition testimony to 337?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 337, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll go to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 337? We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 337? BPS, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 337?
If you wish to testify neutral for Assembly Bill 337, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, I'll invite the bill sponsor back up for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I keep thinking about my mom, who spent 16 years in service to the state of Nevada. She was hired back in 2005, 2006, and saw herself receive a master's degree. My sister and I both received bachelor's degrees. My sister received a master's degree, and 3 other children go through education during that period of time. This could have been a huge, enormous help in just paying tuition for my family to become hardworking Nevadans. These are the type of bills that really help people in Nevada, right? It's a little disappointing that after all of that vitriol in the last hearing that we didn't have more support testimony from those callers who called in begging us to do something to help hardworking Nevadans. This is what we do. We take care of our own. right? We make sure that we are working to ensure that the people who work for our state, who work in our state, who live in our communities, are cared for by us. That's the type of thing we do here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Assemblywoman Peters. With that, we'll go ahead and close Assembly Bill 337 in 1 minute recess.
Okay, the committee will come back to order. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing on Assembly Bill 396, which makes an appropriation to Clark County for programs for rental assistance to certain persons. Vice Chair Backus, I see her at the table with some backup from Mr. Norman from Legal Aid and Ms. Jacobs from Clark County. So when you're ready to present, please proceed.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Speaker Yeager and members of the Committee on Ways and Means. For the record, I am Shay Backus, Assemblywoman for District 37. Today is my pleasure to introduce Assembly Bill 396. Assembly Bill 396 makes an appropriation of $22 million to Clark County for programs for rental assistance in each fiscal year. In light of the complexities of the financial programs and work on the ground to assist Nevadan families in Clark County, I do have here with me today Jonathan Norman, who provides government relations to several of our nonprofit legal organizations, and Joanna Jacob from Clark County. Prior to walking this committee through the bill, I want to provide you with an overview of the state of evictions and relief having been afforded to Nevadans, especially those in our largest county. One challenge tenants are facing is the increase in rent. From the first quarter of 2019 through the second quarter of 2022, market rate rent in Las Vegas increased by 33.1%. According to the January Census Bureau's Household Pulse Survey, 49.8% of adults in Nevada experienced difficulty paying for the usual household expenses in the last 7 days. In the first week of 2023, Las Vegas had the most eviction filings among all major U.S. cities. During the COVID-19 pandemic, there was financial assistance to tenants who were having challenges to make their rent or utility payments. Clark County has expended $392 million of the $430 million granted in rental and utility assistance to people in need. This helped more than 70,000 households with low-income families, seniors, and unemployed workers. Since COVID-19, Clark County has administered 3 different CARES housing assistance program, also referred to as CHAP. The COVID-19 Impact CHAP program stopped accepting applications as of January 23rd, 2023. Clark County started accepting applications under its fixed income CHAP program on September 17th, 2022, and under its eviction CHAP program on January 23rd, 2023. So there's the 2 programs that we're going to focus on, and to qualify under the fixed income CHAP, the tenant must meet the following. Be at least one person in the household lives on a fixed income. So for example, Social Security, VA benefits, or a pension. The tenant experienced an increase in rent within the 12 months of their application, and the tenant received an eviction notice for non-payment of rent. There is also a 50% of the average median income as an income cap, and the payments under the fixed income CHAP must go directly to the landlord and utility company. To date, fixed income CHAP is averaging $6,600 per eligible household. The amounts to each household do vary, with the average and an estimated $7 million per year for this program. Over 1,000 households would be provided with assistance. The newest program with Clark County is the eviction CHAP. To qualify under eviction CHAP, the tenant must satisfy the following core requirements. 1, must have an eviction notice served for non-payment of rent. 2, must have an answer to the court. 3, must have a financial change in circumstances within 60 days of the application. And 4, must have proof of 12 months previous rent paid. Under this program, there is an income cap of 60% of the average median income. The payments for rent or utilities under the program must also go directly to the landlord or utility company. In determining a need of $15 million per year, Clark County estimated that 15% of 50,000 households facing eviction each year would qualify for this program. With an average payment of $2,000 per household, this funding could help those 7,500 households. At this time, I will walk you through the bill. Subsection 1 of Section 1 appropriates the state's general fund to Clark County for programs for rental assistance to persons who are elderly, persons with disabilities, and families of persons facing an unanticipated emergency. The sum of $22 million in fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25. Subsection 2A and B require Clark County to transmit 2 reports to the Interim Finance Committee. An interim report on or before December 20th, 2024 for monies appropriated through December 1st, 2024, and a final report on or before September 19, 2025 for money that was received through June 30th, 2025. Subsection 2C provides that Clark County is to make available to the legislative auditor any of its records, confidential or otherwise, upon request of the Legislative Commission for an audit of the use of the money appropriated under subsection 1. Subsection 3 provides that any sums remaining at the end of the fiscal year, which were not committed for expenditure by June 30th, are to be reverted to the state general fund respectively on or before September 20th, 2024 or September 19, 2025. Section 2 provides that this bill would become effective July 1st, 2023. I appreciate the time allowed to present Assembly Bill 396, and I thank Speaker Yeager for chairing and members of the Committee on Ways and Means for considering AB 396. And with that, we are ready for questions.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman, Vice Chair. Appreciate it. Members, do we have questions? We'll start with Assemblyman Hafen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you guys for presenting the bill. Just one quick question, and the question is why are we proposing to limit this to only Clark County?
Excuse me. Thank you, Assemblyman Hafen, through Chair Speaker Yeager, Shea Backus
You can
for
go
the
direct.
record. That was a lot.
You can go direct to the member, please.
One of the main reasons with Clark County is it's experiencing the highest percentage of evictions. And I wanted to say 85%, and I was going to call a friend, but the rate of evictions that are happening are mainly in Clark County, and a large percent are there. And also we have these 2 programs set up.
Yeah, Jonathan Norman with the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. And in Clark County, I represent Legal Aid Center Southern Nevada in the senior law program. I would say that even though Clark County is the epicenter of this, I think people in other jurisdictions certainly could benefit. I would say Clark County's, the uniqueness is they have the diversion court program set up for evictions, and that money ideally is flowing to boost those 2 programs within diversion court. That's seen as a pilot for our state, and I'm hoping that other jurisdictions can stand up diversion court programs in addition. But I think, the point is well taken, that it's not just Clark County where people are hurting in our state.
And if I could ask a follow-up on that, I seem to remember back in, I think it was October, the Interim Finance Committee, I think we made an additional appropriation for rental assistance, and I thought at that time, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought it was just to Clark County because there was an indication that, really it was Clark and Washoe, and then I think there was a rural agency that was running rental assistance. They had said that they didn't have the need anymore for additional money, whereas Clark had, I think, spent most of the federal funds. So I don't know if someone can confirm that, or we could certainly look back, but I seem to remember that, and I could be totally wrong about it.
Thank you, Speaker Yeager. Joanna Jacob for the record. You're correct, and it is a little confusing because we've been administering our rental assistance program since the CARES Act and since the pandemic began with multiple streams of funding, right? And when we did the funding appropriation in October, it was because we still had applications coming in for and a community demand coming in. We also, Clark County has heavily invested in the IT to support applications coming in. So we know that people are coming to us. We did a lot of the administration of the state's own money and the city's funding as well that was appropriated to them because of efficiencies of scale, basically. So yes, that's correct. There was funding that actually helped us continue the COVID-19 impact CHAP that Assemblyman Backus referenced, and that enabled us to keep it going till the end of the year. And that's when we actually did cut off the queue for in January, because we knew we had a set amount of funding still there. We wanted to process the applications for the people who are in. So it's just until the end of, that was our estimate of when we needed to cut it off so that we could process everybody who had applied to date. So that is correct.
Committee members, are there additional questions? Assemblywoman Kasama, please.
Thank you, Chair. At the beginning of your presentation, you were listing some of the rules for the program, and it could be operator error. I'm looking on exhibits and I'm trying to find it and I don't see it. Would you be able to provide the current rules of the program?
Assemblywoman Katsama, I'll go straight to her. Thank you, Speaker Yeager. Yes, actually, I have a graphic right here that I will file with the committee that we've prepared for our community about the rules for each program. We used it for some of the outreach that we were doing. I'm happy to send it to you. It's very important and actually ask for the legislators' assistance in trying to get the word out to the community for your constituents on who can apply. So I will certainly send that to the committee for the record after this hearing.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Let me just ask one. I think you said you cut off the application for certain rental assistance because you didn't believe you'd have the funding for that. So where are those folks being sent right now when they come asking for help and there's just not money for rental assistance?
Thank you, Chair Yeager. That is actually a very good question. We'll tell you the funding that we had to suspend, I guess, is actually funding that came in from COVID. The challenge that we saw and why we set up the other programs is because we had people coming in who had trouble paying for their rent because of market conditions. The COVID funding that we have is under the restrictions set by the federal government, and the strings that come with that federal funding have to prove a nexus to COVID. There is still demand there. I pulled the numbers. We still have we have 3,400 applications currently with caseworkers there, 2,300 still yet to be assigned. So we have applications coming in. If those applications are denied, perhaps because they cannot prove the nexus to COVID. As the months pass, that is, while we still have the impacts, there are some people who are having challenges not related to COVID. Then we look to see if they can qualify for other county programs, and we're going to try and obviously send them on to whatever is available to them. Clark County has a lot of housing programs that are separate and apart from the two that we're discussing today. We are helping people to get them rehoused. We can do emergency housing. We can try and defer what we can. And so they're getting connected. They're in our queue and then with a caseworker, and we look to see where we can help them if they don't qualify.
Thank you. Committee, any further questions? All right, I don't see further questions. Thank you again for presenting. And at this time, we will open it up for testimony in support of Assembly Bill 396. So if there are folks here in Carson City, if you'd please come to the table and feel free to fill the seats. Ms. Elliott, please.
Good morning, Speaker Yeager and members of the committee. I'd like to respond to your question as it relates to Nevada Rural Housing Authority, and that is correct. They were not in need in October when the question was asked. The Reno Housing Authority I can't speak to, but I could certainly provide that information back to this committee quickly. But I did want to let you know that on behalf of the Nevada Rural Housing Authority, they utilized their funds, and we seem to be okay out in the rules. For the record, I apologize. I'm Mindy Elliott with Flynn Judici Government Affairs, and today representing the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. And we would certainly like to extend a huge thank you to the committee for on Ways and Means for sponsoring this important appropriation to the Clark County Rental Assistance Program. On behalf of the thousands of individuals that previously accessed CHAP, it is estimated that Nevada lacks north of 100,000 units for affordable housing. And so there isn't anywhere for families to go, which is one of the questions. There just isn't anywhere for anyone to go at this point. Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority develops and has scattered site properties, single-family homes throughout Clark County, and they're part of the conventional public housing program. These properties are composed of designated senior, elderly, disabled, and the rest are designated as family properties. They currently own 2,431 units of conventional public housing in Clark County, and they house over 5,000 people under the public housing program. AB 386 will support the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority's mission of sustaining families, veterans, seniors, and the disabled as we continue to work through this financial crisis. So I appreciate your time, and we do thank you so much for this piece of legislation.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Catha, please.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and members of the committee. My name is Paul Catha, that's spelled C-A-T-H-A, and I represent the Culinary Workers Union Local 226. The Culinary Union supports Assembly Bill 396 because Southern Nevada is in the middle of a serious housing crisis that will not be resolved for years at the minimum. The state will benefit from keeping people housed while it works to resolve this crisis and has a duty to do so. In a 2022 survey of Culinary Union members, 21% said their rent had gone up $500, 21% said they are charged monthly fees in addition to rent, and 15% said they pay more than $100 in fees each month. Rent increases have outpaced wage growth in Southern Nevada, and investors have purchased nearly 1/5 of homes in Southern Nevada in recent years. The Nevada Legislature needs to do something to ensure that Nevadans are not forced out of their neighborhoods as a result of rising rents. The Culinary Union urges the committee to support and pass Assembly Bill 396. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Luna, please.
For the record, my name is Paula Luna, P-A-U-L-A-L-U-N-A with Battleborn Progress, and we urge this body to invest in AB 396, investing in rental assistance funds and elderly individuals, persons with disabilities, and families or persons facing an unanticipated emergency is a worthwhile investment that can improve the well-being of vulnerable groups, alleviate financial stress, and ultimately be cost-effective by reducing the need for emergency services. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City who would like to give testimony in support? Looks like we have one more coming to the table. When you're ready, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Mary Dungan, M-A-R-Y-D-U-N-G-A-N. I recently applied for a 55-plus apartment complex for lower-income individuals. I just slipped in under their minimum. They're under the state program, and the rules are, for some of these places and programs, are very restrictive. I waited a year. They did my credit check. They did everything on me. They called me, we have an apartment for you. You passed your credit check. And then they said, oh, wait a minute. You have student loans, so we're not able to rent to you. I've looked through a lot of these programs and their restrictions and their rules really are keeping people like me from going into a place that I can afford and is suitable for someone in my stage of life. And I just wanted to make you all aware that I think having student loans is kind of a silly idea, not to give me an apartment, but, I don't make the rules. But that's why I'm here today, to support this bill, and I would appreciate all of you supporting this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else here in Carson City? Seeing no one else in Carson City, is there anyone in Las Vegas? I don't see anyone in the room unless someone's hiding behind the pole, which sometimes happens, but I don't see anyone there. So BPS, could we please go to the phone lines and see if there's anybody there who'd like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 396?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 396, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify at this time. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one caller wishing to testify.
Good morning, Chair, Speaker Yeager,
and the committee. This is Dora Martinez, representing the Nevada Disability Peer Action Coalition. I ditto what Paul and Luna said, and everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. BPS, are there any additional callers in support?
Chair, there are no additional callers in support.
Thank you. We'll go to opposition. Anyone here in Carson City who'd like to oppose Assembly Bill 396? Seeing no one in Carson City, anyone in Las Vegas who'd like to oppose Assembly Bill 396? Seeing no one in Las Vegas, BPS, could we check the phones for anyone in opposition, please?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. We'll go to neutral testimony. Anyone in Carson City in the neutral position? Seeing no one. Anyone in Las Vegas? Also seeing no one. BPS, has anyone joined the phone lines for neutral testimony?
Chair, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you, BPS. Would invite our sponsor. Our sponsor, Vice Chair, is waiving any closing remarks, so we'll thank you for the presentation, and I will now close the hearing on Assembly Bill 396, and we'll be in a brief recess for the Vice Chair to handle the public comment portion of the meeting.
With that, we'll go ahead and open the time for public comment. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to give public comment this morning? With that, we will go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give public comment? BPS, we'll go to you. Is there anyone on the phone lines that now has rejoined to give public comment?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
With that, we'll go ahead and close our hearing this morning. Thanks so much. Have a good day.